stopped by Lidl on the way home from picking my kids up from my parents' house. They were on vacation with my parents for a while. And I didn't want to go out and not stop at Lidl because we usually need something from there. So I found these pots there. I have another one of these long pots in my greenhouse over there. And I thought, I started spinach, a spinach variety, in the other pots. It's a heat-loving spinach variety. And I thought I might want to start some lettuce. I know it's late, I know it's hot, but I wanted to give it a shot because we buy a lot of lettuce this time of year. So I thought I would bring you along with me while I filled my new planters. Now I have a bunch of seed downstairs that I need to go through from Baker's Seed Creek. It's rareseeds.com. I'm not affiliated with them in any way, but boy would I love to be. I found them a couple of years ago. I think the person who previously owned my house bought from them, and her subscription was still sending to my house well after she had left. Like, I think it was like 5 years later. And I got one in the mail and I looked at it and I was like, wow, this is so cool. So I ended up buying from them because I really liked that they sold heirloom seeds, non-GMO, and they have such a neat variety. They actually traveled to Asia to get a lot of their seed. So, I mean, you know, they traveled to get the initial seed and then they grew it where they're at. So now the seed that they have there is the stuff that they grew. But I think it's such a neat company. But I will bring up my giant box of seeds later, maybe tomorrow, and I'll go through them and pick out the type of lettuce I want to put in here. And I'm going slow right now and just using a shovel because I don't want my hands dirty. I just don't feel like it. I don't feel like getting my hands dirty, so I'm not going to. So when I was walking the other day, or the past couple of weeks actually, I walk a lot. I'm in the middle of losing a bunch of weight. So I've lost like 40 pounds so far in the last year or so. I have quite a bit left to go, but I keep an eye out while I'm walking for wild edibles. And there were a few things that I was curious about, so I downloaded a plant identification app on my iPad, went out and took pictures of the plants that I was curious about, and found out that we have a common pear tree just growing on its own in the wild right across the road from our townhouse. It's literally like 50 yards away. And then we also have Appalachian blackberries that are growing right across the road and also a little bit farther up the road. And we also have 2 wild blueberry bushes, which I am super psyched about. I am actually going to go over there and dig them up because they're just growing wild in the forest over there. And this is like a townhouse community, so there are nobodies. So I'm going to go dig those up, and we're going to have wild blueberry bushes, and I'm so excited because I've never seen wild blueberry bushes so big. When we go vacationing in West Virginia, I've found some wild blueberry bushes on top of a rock at the swimming hole we go to, and it's tiny. But I think it's because there's not a lot of dirt up there, and there's just not, it's exposed to the elements more, it's more in the sunlight there, so it may not like it exactly on top of that rock. But these blueberries were like enormous compared to that one, and they were loaded with blueberries. So I'm excited to get those, and I actually got 2 pots over here next to me that I'll bring down and fill with a little bit of dirt on the bottom for going to get those probably tomorrow evening. I got permission to go get them because no one's using them. They're just there. And I thought, what a great resource. Like, how often do you walk into the forest and just find wild blueberry bushes? I mean, it's only happened to me like one time in my life, and that was in West Virginia. So, super psyched about it. Super energetic about going to go get those. And super excited, more so that my property owner was like, yeah, go get them. They're yours, no one wants them. So, these are the pots that I got from Lidl. They're really nice because they have this thing at the bottom, and the overflow is kind of covered so you don't lose soil out of it, but it can still release water if it gets overwatered. See, these pots were, see, the planter box was $7.99, which I don't think that's that bad because it has one of those overflow drains in it and a water gauge that pops up if you water it. The planters themselves were $7.99 a piece. So these were $7.99 a piece, which I got similar sizes pots at Dollar General for $8. So, and they don't have a drain at the bottom. So these ones at Lidl were actually, in my mind, a better deal than the ones at the Dollar General because they came with the drainer already built in. And the ones from Dollar General, I think I had to stab holes in the bottom of the pockets. Oh, sorry. So in these, just going to do a light coating of soil at the very bottom because I want my blueberries to have something to grow into when they get put in there. And it'll compact down to turn into basically hardly anything once the plants are in there for a while. And then when we bring them back, I'll top it off with more soil. And I will see you when we go to get those blueberries.
Just this one?
There's another one behind it. But it's
Where, way down in there?
back to the right there. Here in the dark at like 9 trying to get these blueberries out of the ground. So we finally got the blueberries out of the ground and transported back to our townhouse. Here I'm just filling in the rest of the dirt that's needed to keep the blueberries nice and happy. It takes a little bit of time because there's a lot of spaces in there. The root system was more mature than I thought, so I definitely needed to cozy those roots down in there and make them cozy and comfy. You don't necessarily need to be gentle when you do this because, I mean, the plant's already been through getting uprooted. Sometimes you have to be a little bit forceful to get things to move around the way you want when it comes to plants. So that's what I'm doing there. I'm just adding a bunch of soil to the pots. Hey guys, it's the next day. Here I'm going through my seeds. I have an excessive amount of seeds. Please don't judge me. It's a little bit of an addiction for me. I love buying seeds. I love shopping around on the seed websites and picking out new things to grow. I went through this entire collection and I didn't find many lettuce varieties. I think it's because, one, I used up all my lettuces last summer and I didn't realize it. I only had a few varieties left. And two, I'm more of a winter squash, beans, radishes, turnips, Napa cabbage kind of girl. So lettuce wasn't exactly on my radar. I'm into medicinal herbs too, but it's not the same as lettuce. I have an excessive amount of basil and some neat things that you don't normally think about like growing, like horehound and borage, things like that. Borage is actually extremely beautiful and tasty, so I wanted to give that a try this summer. But in this clip, you just see me going through my seeds and picking out the lettuce varieties. Alright, so I went through my seed and I found the only lettuces that I have. I have butter crunch lettuce. This isn't really lettuce, this is plantain, but we like plantain, so it works. And then this isn't actually lettuce either, but it's basil, and we planted it last year and we loved it, so we're gonna try it out. With these seeds, what I do is put a bunch in my hand like that. I'm just going to use them all because I'm a seed heavy person. And I am going to kind of drop them down in there slightly. But whatever comes up will come up, and whatever doesn't come up won't come up. And this is just going to be my lettuce bed, so I'm putting it all in here. I'm just going to plant it all together. I'm not doing rows or sections or anything like that. It's all just going to come up when it wants to and where it wants to. And I'm overseeding because I like to pick out these small seedlings and have them in the morning with like my eggs and stuff, so that's why I'm doing that. And these plantain seeds are super tiny. Those in there. And I do have basil seeds left, so I'll keep those. But now I'm just going to put some water on this. Ooh! The hose hit me. Just going to water this right away and get those really settled down in there, so they don't fly away in the wind if the wind comes up or something. And I didn't put anything under the soil, if you notice, so everything's going to be evenly distributed throughout this bed. The water's going to soak down in there, and when it comes up, it'll be everywhere, not just in one spot. I'm going to water it one more time just to make sure it's nice and moist, so that these seedlings don't dry out and die when they start to sprout. And I'm going to come out here later with some plastic wrap and cover the top on this, and it'll help create a moist environment so that the seedlings will sprout. And once they sprout and are, pretty okay established, I'll take that saran wrap off, and it'll live on its own. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.